Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Glenorchy City Council, tonight being Monday the 16th of December 2024. I am Sue Hickey, Mayor of the City of Glenorchy and Chairperson of this afternoon's meeting. Glenorchy City Council acknowledges the Muwinina people as the traditional owners of this land. While sadly the Muwinina people did not survive colonisation, we recognise all Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the original owners and continuing custodians of the land and waters of this island of Twitter. We pay our respect to Aboriginal elders past and present. We commit to working for a city that welcomes and respects all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Joining me here in Council tonight is Alderman Tim Marks, Alderman Peter Riddler, Alderman Justin Stringer, Councillor Molly Kendall, our Deputy Mayor Russell Yaxley, our CEO Tony McMullen, Alderman Stuart Slade and Alderman Josh Cocksharp. Before we open our agenda, I take this opportunity to make a statement about workplace health and safety. Glenorchy City Council takes workplace health and safety seriously, and this includes physical and psychological safety. We have a duty to ensure that a workplace is provided for our employees, elected members, contractors, volunteers and members of the public who may be present at Council's workplaces. Council meetings form a part of Council's workplace, and it is expected that everyone who attends Council meetings will behave in a polite and respectful manner. Council has endorsed a statement of intent setting out how we, as elected members, have agreed to conduct ourselves in representing the people of Glenorchy. In accordance with this, any disagreement should be expressed respectfully, remembering both during debate and in decision making that we are elected to represent and serve the people of Glenorchy and to make the city the best it can be. Finally, I note that the open section of this meeting is being live streamed and on audio-visual recording, and this will occur in accordance with Council's recording of Council meetings policies. Members of the public are not permitted to make audio or visual recordings of the Council meeting. We have 17 items on our agenda this afternoon, and agenda 1 is apologies, and I think Stuart, you're very present. Stephen, we have Alderman Stephen, why am I having a blank? King, Alderman Stephen King and Alderman Alderton, who are not present this evening. Can I have someone move that we have announcements, confirmation of minutes?
So
Thank you. Seconded, thank you, Deputy. And would you like to discuss those?
Oh, look, I'll agree with them, Mayor, but there's a number of mistakes, little errors in there. So, like I said, I brought up the issue about the annual report, and I don't want to sort of go into it here, but I'm happy to move it, and I have some seconds as well, if they can just be addressed.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, and fixed for the website.
Yes, yeah.
Yep, thank you. Any problem with that, Deputy? No? Any discussion? So I'll put the motion. All those in favour, raise your hand, and it's carried unanimously. And the next one is announcements by the Chair. So, first of all, I'd like to welcome officially Alderman Tim Marks. Following the sad passing of Alderman Jan Dunsby, Tim Marks was elected to Council on account back. Alderman Marks has been participating in Council workshops and events since his election on the 2nd of December, but this is his first official Council meeting, so welcome. And we look forward to working with you. Now, I have a pool update. First of all, we'll deal with repair and reopen. We have now received the signed grant deed from the government along with the first instalment of money. So we actually have it now. And we are ready to release the tender documents early in the new year, because this is not a very good period to be releasing tender documents, and we will let everyone know when that happens. So we're thinking about late January. Correct? Yes. Now, as for the future of the pool, the final business case has been received by MI Global and is now available on our website. Tonight we will consider the Council's priority project prospectus, which includes funding for the redevelopment of this pool. We have already started to lobby federal government for this funding in the lead up to the next election, and the CEO and I are having meetings with relevant ministers from both state and federal governments to discuss the funding. and I do commit to working very hard to seeing if we can get that money. The Tolosa Park handover. Following the $6.2 million redevelopment of the old dam site, Taswater has officially been handed back to council. We are continuing to work on the site to make sure the beautiful trees, I think there's 7,500 of them, or was it plants as well, plants and trees. So trees and grasses are well established thanks to our furry friends before the fences come down and it is open for public use. But I think anyone who gets a chance to go up there and even sees the progress that we've made to date will be very impressed. And we are now lobbying the government for funding for stage 2 of the development, which we're hoping to build a destination play area catering to all ages and abilities. And this will be a nature-based style playground, which would be lovely. Barbecue shelters, drink fountains and accessible toilets are on the list. Native landscaping, irrigation systems and footbridges over the wetlands and ponds. And a full-size multi-use game arena and pump track, and partial realignment of the criterium track and car park extension. So as you can see, there's a lot of work to do, but we know it'll be excellent value to the city. Last Monday, we held the last of our trial open workshops, and I hope you agree that they've all been successful. Over the 6-month trial, we have heard from a diverse range of speakers on topics such as the demographics of Glenorchy, asset management, youth safety, the pool business plan, bushfire mitigation, the Northern Suburbs Transit Corridor, and most recently the Glenorchy Sports Centre and results of the Future Directions Survey. We will be presented with a paper at our 28th of January council meeting outlining the outcomes of the trial and recommendations for continuation of the Open Workshops initiative in 2025. Last Tuesday, we held our final citizenship for 2024, where we welcomed 45 new citizens from 15 different countries. This was our 6th ceremony for the year, and these new citizens are joining 260 other Glenorchy residents who've become Australian citizens in 2024. We are thrilled that each of these people have actually chosen to want to make Glenorchy their home, and we welcome them to our city. Next year, we will hold our first citizenship ceremony on January 29th, which is a Wednesday evening. Now, the Golden Years Club. Due to the falling numbers and participants in the club's activities, the Golden Years Club will cease operations tomorrow. The council is aware of the extreme value of the services that have been run and operated out of this building, and we are working with a number of interested parties to make sure that these services continue and that building remains open and accessible for many years to come. One of those services is St Vincent de Paul, who will use the building to host monthly Dining with Friends event until their Mill Lane facility is complete. But if I can ask the director, my understanding is that country and western music, the church and Dementia Cafe, things will continue.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. The Natural Areas volunteers recognised. Yesterday, over 50 volunteers, think about that, 50 people giving up their time to do valuable work looking after our natural areas. Council hosted a Brazilian-style barbecue and award ceremony to celebrate this year's successes and the great work achieved by our volunteers in keeping our city looking so great. On Wednesday this week, we will join Taswater to launch the installation of water refilling stations in Glenorchy. We are the first local government area in Tasmania to host one of these refilling stations from Taswater. The refilling station is a win-win for health and the environment. It helps people stay hydrated whilst engaging in their favourite activities and tackles the use of single-use plastics. Consider these statistics. On average, each Tasmanian sends 130 kilograms of plastic to landfill every year. Tasmanians collectively spend, if you like this one, $15.7 million annually on bottled water. Our council team, who maintains the litter traps in our waterways, have shared that the majority of rubbish collected is plastic, hundreds of kilograms each year. Reducing this not only protects our environment, but also benefits the wildlife and our community. Importantly, these water refiller stations are designed for all abilities, ensuring they are accessible to everyone in our community. And finally, the 10 play spaces, which we've been incredibly proud of. The final playground will open this Thursday, and this is the final one from the play space renewal program. So the $2 million project has seen 10 play spaces upgraded across the city, desperately needed upgrades, I might say, but they've really been well received. This initiative, funded by $1.5 million from the federal government and $500,000 from the council, has developed modern and engaging recreational spaces in neighbourhoods from Collinsvale through to Lutana. The final play space upgrade at Roseneath Reserve in Austin's Ferry has been completed, marking the culmination of the 2-year grant project. To celebrate, a media event will be held at Roseneath Reserve, showcasing the improvements and the positive impact on our local communities. Now, the completed play spaces include, I don't know whether we've got photos of them, have we? Oh, it's a shame because they're beautiful. Collinsvale Play Space, Alroy Court Rosetta, International Peace Park Berridale, Chandos Drive Reserve Berridale, Pitcairn Street Reserve Montrose, Barossa Road Glenorchy, Battersby Drive Claremont, Corinda Park West Moona, Lutana Woodlands Lutana, and of course the last one being Roseneath Reserve at Austin's Ferry. So congratulations to all the staff who've worked on those projects. Now, does anyone have a pecuniary interest they'd like to acknowledge? No? Response to public questions taken on notice, they've all been addressed in our agenda. And now it's public question time. So we have 15 minutes allocated for question time. Can I just have a show of hands how many questions we're going to get? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's fine. Right, who'd like to go first? Goodman, thank you. When you please come to the table, could you just state your name and suburb?
And Sven Goodman, in West Moona.
Thank you. You may take a seat.
Right. Yeah. We start off with a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you. Thank you for your reply to my email. Unfortunately, what you gave me in return, their documentations there in the research scene, I'm trying to be polite, they're laughed about.
Okay.
The documentation of the TGA for contamination are 74 pages, which are short of things you can fit on the palm of my hand, redacted front to back. But due to the sloppy work of the TGA, we also know that they use the quantitative polymerase chain reaction testing, which is by the patents of Moderna itself, the manufacturer, unsuitable for testing because it overlooks the majority of the contamination.
Mr. Goodman, I have to pull you up. This is question time, so we have to take a question, not a statement.
Right. I have the proof that the contamination exists. I therefore ask you to withdraw the receipt for market.
That is not within our power, as has been explained in the agenda. And we have to
incorrect.
take it. Well,
I'm sorry.
Could you please take that up with the state government, because it is not in our prerogative to be doing that. We do understand your concerns, but we have to take the advice of the Australian federal government for that matter. And it's not something that we do. We don't even provide the vaccinations. But we could provide you with the Premier's Secretary's email if that would be of any assistance.
Under Tasmanian Local Government Act, functional powers, paragraph 1, 1A, 1B, 1C, 2, 3, and 5. You do have such powers.
Well, our professional officer advice is that we don't. And I don't have the capacity to argue that. Would you like to say something, Theo?
I sought advice of our coordinator in environmental health, who confirmed that the responsibility for vaccination in relation to COVID rests with the state government.
Thank you for that part. Unfortunately, I have to herewith go to you legally and notice that you're in breach of Australian and international law.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Thank you, Mr. Steenbergen.
My name is Steve Bergen from Rosetta. I just have one question. It relates to a matter in the financial report on the agenda tonight. It relates to the CBD cleansing program, which I hadn't heard of, but it all sounds very laudable. The question I've got is about the costs. As far as the agenda report goes, it seems that the cost of that program is going to go up by $500,000 per year, if I understand it correctly. And my question is, and the report also says that the funding of the program will be found from elsewhere in the council budget. And my question is, from where?
Okay, that's a very good
In
question.
essence,
I hope you're very pleased with the potential of having a very clean city.
I don't have a problem with the program.
Yes, thank you. CEO, do you want to answer that, or would you like to pass it to the director?
I'll pass it.
Okay,
And the CFO as well.
and the CFO. I've got best brains in the council standing. Please proceed.
So in terms of where we are on some of those savings, at the moment we do have a number of vacancies in council. Obviously we do have some savings. So given that essentially allocate some of those savings.
Is that the entire answer? My understanding is this is an operation.
Sorry, we do have a bit more to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A little bit on that. So we are actually reorganising our
maintenance and operations through as well. So we are looking at moving a few team members, reallocating some plant equipment. We're probably looking at leasing in some like a sweeper. We have got the vacancy savings that we've got, and we probably will look at reordering a few things so that they are ongoing into the future, so we can reallocate those funds. The total amount, it's not $500,000 increase in total. It's going to result in a program budget of around 590 something, so just under 600. But we're already spending around the, I think it's close to around 300 to 86, something like that. So it is, yeah, an increase, but not the total 590.
I'm slightly confused because the agenda report says the operational costs.
No, sorry, that's my mistake. So it is an increase of 590. So, and we already are spending around the 280, 300. So it is an increase of around the 900. Sorry,
At 500.
total budget of around 900. So I'm getting all figured, I think.
Yes, minus the 300 something that we already
And
spent.
that though, Mayor, I have to clarify, includes the capital spend on some plant equipment though, so that won't be ongoing year on year, and it will include what we hire in, like footpath sweeping and footpath pressure cleaning.
Are you saying the cost of this program is not going to increase the capital in?
It will for the first year, Mayor, if might just start again. It will for the first year because we are purchasing some equipment, so it's probably the highest point of the program in establishing it, and then ongoing will be less, so it'll be minus the cost of the plant equipment, apart from its depreciation into the future. So you can probably say it's going to increase by about 400,000 ongoing on average.
So,
And the CEO would like to.
Mayor, just to confirm in the report, so current expenditure $336,337, proposed expenditure $935,763, and difference of $599,426. Of that $599,000, $465,051 is in operational costs, primarily in the new roles, and the there's also a component of 134,375 in capital assets purchased. So the 134,375 presumably is an initial establishment cost, and then there would be probably a smaller depreciation component which will roll into operational year on year beyond that. But
So that 465,000, is that just this year?
that's
I have the impression that's an annual.
it's an annual. That's right. No, I'm saying that of the 599, 465 is an operational cost, and 134,000 is a capital cost, which will be a one-off. Purchase the equipment to establish the program, and there might be a small amount of depreciation that flows from that back into the future operational budgets.
And these are annual amounts, so the remaining 450 or 60,000, it's an annual amount. So this financial year, we're only going to incur probably a third of it. So for example, this funding, because we're already nearly halfway through the year, right? So we've only got to, by the time we actually hire the right resources, get them trained up, get them started, we will incur costs for probably 3 months, maybe 4 months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, we're talking annual amounts here, but obviously this financial year, the expense will be lower. And next year onwards, it will be approximately a $460,000 additional cost in order to provide the service.
And if I understand correctly, you're saying that all of that 465,000
It'll come from
savings.
savings. Yeah, it'll come from savings, and like Emilio articulated, we've got some of our restructures that we're looking to do in order to find some benefit and some savings in the existing services we provide in order to be able to absorb that cost without incurring any additional costs to the community through rates.
Yes, you may.
What those other positions include? Or those other positions?
So just to give you a little bit of context, Glenorchy City Council employs approximately 360 people. So it's quite a large, significant workforce that is split between a number of casual people, a number of permanent roles, part-timers and so forth. The natural rate of attrition or turnover across all councils in Tasmania is approximately 15 to 20%. So every single year we know that we have a certain amount of vacancies, and there's a certain amount of time that it takes to fill those vacancies. So during the time when the vacancy is not filled, there is an implied saving. So we do know that we have savings that do come from vacancies annually.
And if it makes you feel better, one of the biggest complaints we have been receiving at council is the state of the city, that it's not up to scratch. And also the council has done research, and it's been significantly underfunding this particular area compared to other councils. And bear in mind, we're a city. So we're hoping that this is proactive maintenance. By keeping it clean, it's easier to clean and things like that. So we're attending to things like the graffiti as well. So this is all about a priority focus of the council, which we think the people will appreciate. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just reprioritising where our focus needs to be. Thank you. Thank you for your interest. Now, Mrs. Bryan.
Brian Montrose. My question is in relation to agenda item 9. If aldermen are not sacrificing the public car parking and building in apartments on our public car park, where will the residents of these apartments park?
Maybe they won't have cars. Like, we are encouraging people to use public transport and also buses, and these buildings would be located very close to pretty big other car parks and doctors and facilities and services. But let me pass it through to someone who knows more. CEO?
I might make a statement and perhaps refer along to our Deputy CEO. This question came to us on the basis that there'd be a request to present a report to this meeting, exploring the potential for the development of more housing in the city's CBD areas without sacrificing public car parking. So the intention is to explore ways of building over public car parking areas, and that's so.
But they're pretty fully utilised at the moment, and then you've got apartments that people will have cars. I mean, you have to be realistic. You have to take children to sport and all sorts of things that people do with their cars. I mean, they don't.
This is debate.
Yeah,
So
I'm just
I
saying.
just need to point out that this will
Yeah.
probably be social housing, and 10% of Glenorchy does not have access to a car, and the car parks are only full between the hours of 9 and 4, so they're empty all night and empty on the weekends. Okay, continue.
Through me, I was just simply trying to establish the question that was put to us, which was the premise is not to sacrifice public car parking.
And this is done around the world. Yeah?
Thank you, Mayor. It's also depending on the planning scheme and how parking is addressed. The developer may put a level of car parking within the structure that's built.
That's good. That would be good.
May, because we really don't know what's being proposed. This is just exploring the potential of building over, car parks or other council lands, not necessarily just car parks.
I just want to look after our community. That's all. Thank you.
We want to look after the community, make sure they're housed. Thank you.
Well, it's not been said it was social housing. That's all. When you said
Community housing. Yes.
fair enough. That's okay. In relation to the motion agenda item 12, disposal of public land, I just want to say for the community, I have emailed comments and questions directly to the alderman, so I won't be asking any. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, just point of order there. That is not a question, that is a statement. So there's no need to be coming in here to make statements on the agenda of the council. So
Right, it is a point of order. Thank you. Right, Mr. Bryan, do you want to ask a question?
Thank you. James Bryan, England Avenue, Montrose. The response to my question asked at the AGM December 2024 still leaves part of the question unanswered. What was the total cost in cash for the disposal of the land and property? The total income for sale of property is listed as $551,000. The total expenses for these activities is $3.2 million. Examining the list provided, there's close to $3 million of non-cash expenses. For the land sales of $240,000 for the two properties listed, expenses are listed as $334,394, a loss of $94,394. How much of these expenses were items that required cash from a Glenorchy City Council account to pay them? Legal, advertising, sales rep costs, etc.
Is that the question?
It is. Might as well finish the lot. There are a couple more questions. How much of the sale of property and land was moved into the Property Reserve Fund? How much is in the Property Reserve Fund as at the 30th of June 2024? The response lists two land sales for the year. One, Villette Place, 117A Pitcairn Street. The attachments for the 26th of August 2024 Council meeting, attachment 1, proceeds from property sales at 30th of June 24, lists 6 properties, none of the above. Are these 2023 sales? Why are they listed? Furthermore, a property sales report, Valuer General Tasmania, the list, provides information on a sale by the City of Glenorchy of 23A Norman Circle, contract date 7th of May 2024. Sale price $850,000. This is not listed on the response to my AGM question. Why is a May sale not listed in the annual report?
Okay, we'll get you the answer. Thank you. Michael, would you like to Chief Operating Officer?
Look, I just wanted to,
Financial.
and I will have to take a couple of parts of the questions on those.
That's all right.
Yeah, so we can do the detail. The question that was posed initially was, what makes up the loss of 2.650 million, which is provided as response. We've obviously provided an itemised listing of what makes up the balance, and it's correct. We have disclosed that we have generated approximately 240,000 in cash income in relation to the sale of two particular pieces of land. As part of that, the land sold, we've also disclosed that the value of the land sold is 334,394, which is disclosed in the table below. So essentially, that's the match. We've also disclosed any other balances that have gone through that account. As you rightfully called out, some of those items are sort of non-cash expenses, they're sort of accounting expenses. So essentially, we have provided a full reconciliation. Some of the additional questions that you've had in relation to what are some of the land sales that have generated income or funds back into our land reserve fund, I can provide those.
Yeah, I can provide it now.
Yes, please.
So there was, as of 30 June 2024, council has 799,204 thousand cents in the proceeds from property sales. 626,114 dollars and 67 cents is in the property disposal reserve fund, and 173,089 dollars and 56 cents in the special projects reserve fund. And this is publicly available. It's in the August council meeting minutes. Because we do a summary report on all the proceeds and land sales after the end of financial year in August.
So could I just interrupt for a moment? I've got a copy of that right in front of me, and as I said, it lists 6 properties for sale that are not listed in the question, the answer to my question. In fact, I suspect they're 2023 properties, not 2024 properties.
It's for the financial year, so it would be 23-24. There were 3 still pending. That was 23A Norman Circle.
But my question at the annual general meeting referred to 23-24. And those properties are not listed on the response to my question. And there are 2 properties listed that are not in this document, which was from the August meeting.
Which ones are those?
You've listed 1 Billette Place, 117A Pitcairn Street to me in response to my question. Very hard to read this because it's very small, but there are 5 or 6 properties that are listed in your attachments, Council, 26th of August 2024. Proceeds from property sales at 30th of 6/24, which is the 23-24 financial year. None of those properties are listed in my response to, the response to my question.
I think we'll give that a list and
And
Depends on
the question I
settlement
really
date.
want answered
Okay.
is what was the total money paid out of Glenorchy City Council accounts as costs in disposing of those lands? I know all the rest of it. I know it's to do with non-cash items. I know it's to do with modern accounting principles. I know all of that, but I want to know what was the cash, which will then tell me and ratepayers what profit was made in the sale of those properties in cash.
So you'd like to know what the cost of disposal, as in lawyer fees?
Look, they don't have to be itemised, just what the total cost was.
Yep. We have nothing to hide, so there's no
Look,
problem.
all the documents are great, but when you get something like I did, it really is disguising the actual cash component.
Well,
And
let us take it on notice and we'll get back to you
that's
because
all
we
right,
have
thank you.
nothing to hide. Right, so now, are there any petitions to council?
No, no.
Okay. Now, activities of the mayor. Who's going to move?
So
this?
moved.
Sorry, who was that?
It's me, Alderman Sloan.
Moved, so, and seconded by Josh Cocksher. Right, anyone like to talk to this one?
I'll just later off on, Mayor, that another busy period, which you would understand, because obviously going into the Christmas break. Very clear, outlines where you've been to. I've probably had some discussions with you on some of them. I've got nothing further to add.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, councillor Kendall.
Thank you. Yes, incredibly busy as well, being invites to lots of things, which is a lovely part of being an elected member on Christmas. But I am intrigued by the 26th of November, by the moving house project. Can you expand a little on that?
Yes, that one was quite fascinating because the people who came to visit me are doing a study and trying to start accessing funds to help people who are affected by domestic violence move. So they regularly get moved from one place to another and not in permanent establishments. But generally they end up having to leave something behind each time because they cannot afford removalists, so like beds and chairs and things like that. So it was about how they could access services. No one provides it. So they might be given a rental, but there's no help to take their things from one rental to another, or if they lose a tenancy for no fault of their own, the owner wants to sell the property, and so there are no funds specified for that. So we had a talk about different ways we could approach that, not from a council's point of view, but management type of advice, and local businesses that could perhaps have some capacity and may want to offer it from time to time. So yeah, it was a very fascinating discussion. Anyone else have any questions? No? I'll just say again, I think it's a privilege that I get to go to all of these things, and I'm quite happy to attend on behalf of all of the elected members. So in that case, I'll put that motion. Do you want to say anything?
No, I've got nothing further to add. Yeah.
Okay, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Now, the next one is explore potential housing developments in Glenorchy CBDs.
Before we go through this one, I'd just like to add to
Yes.
with the recommendation for Emma, which sort of reads to direct the CEO to report to council at the July 2025 meeting on progress and actions taken regarding housing providers interested in construction, housing, airspace above council-owned properties. It's basically an update as well. So to put that in as part of the suite.
Okay, would that be any problems with that timing, Director? Oh, well, you're not Director now, are you? Deputy CEO. Is that enough time for you to canvass it? Because you've got a few steps to go first, haven't you?
No, that should be okay.
That should be okay? Right, good, thank you.
Happy to move that.
Yes, you're happy to move it. The seconder, thank you, Alderman Slade. Now, do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I'll just speak to it if I could, Mayor. Thank you, through you. So, yeah, obviously I'd like to thank the team for the detailed report. It's very thorough in its history and the timelines provided around housing in our city. It's obviously got a number of recent figures that help provide context and consideration to what we're faced with in the present time. I would really say the council actively works in our role, and we really are fulfilling the housing commitment statement. Our property team works very hard to make sure our city and community is doing everything we can to make our commitment a reality. Our planning team has recently been awarded a state award at the Planning Institute of Australia for the planning awards in Tasmania for excellence, and so they won the community wellbeing and diversity category. So that was for the work on the Northern Parliament corridor and the Principal Activity Centre specific area plan. So that's all part of the car park consideration in terms of the airspace. So I think that's a really, really positive thing. So our teams are really, really active in this space. So I think we're going to continue to keep doing that. And obviously adding to this with the airspace over the council car parks appears to be a possibility if the housing providers are willing to explore, see the benefit and also the cost benefit of a project like this. So I'm certainly open to the idea of adding it. I look forward to hearing more information as it loops back through next year.
Thank you. Any further discussion? No. I'm very pleased with this report because I thought it was thoroughly thought out and addressed all the questions we could possibly have. It certainly addresses the need, which I think is just so obvious these days. It follows on from 3 very successful projects in the city where, in the case of Hobart, they do charge for their car parking. We're not proposing to do that at all. But it does, we can't keep doing the same thing as a city every single day, or we're going to stay the same. We're not going to resolve anything. So where we've got options or alternatives or innovative solutions to problems where we can connect people to buses and walking areas and doctors and, chemists and all of those things, we have to start facilitating that. The days of the quarter-acre block are gone. We've got to have increased density. We've got to be able to provide many more different types of housing to suit the people here in the city. And as I said, I found it alarming that 10% of Glenorchy have no access to motor car at all. And so therefore they're very reliant on other forms of transport. And we have to encourage people to become more active and consider the impact on the environment. So I'd really like to thank the Deputy CEO who I think this is most of your work.
Mostly, but there was a bit of a team as well pulling the stats together as well.
Yes, but I think it's been logically argued, and I do know, like, trying to do anything like this, the paperwork is phenomenal, process is phenomenal, and with the rigour it needs, so that's okay. But I think it's just another step to Glenorchy being a more modern and contemporary and city that can house more residents than it does already. Okay, so back to the mover.
Yeah, can I just ask one question? Mm-hmm. Just in terms of the, we talked in the report about housing providers. Who are the housing providers we're talking about here? And I guess how do you begin the engaging process?
The main one is Homes TAS, so housing TAS. But they also work in conjunction with other providers like Senecure Evolve, who just changed their name recently. Mission Australia, and I think there's one other housing provider that has that level of status that works with Homes TAS. I can't think of the one. They would be the main ones that we would contact the staff with to see if there's interest, because they obviously need funds to invest as well. So, mostly for construction costs.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Director, can I ask a question? Winteringham are another one, aren't they? They develop ILUs and things like that.
Could be. There's
and Colony 47, was it? The new version?
Colony 47 or they're more of a placement agency.
Yeah.
But there is another one like Mission Australia that actually deals in the physical housing.
Anglicare? Catholic? Anyway, there's a few in that space.
Yeah, it's fair to say probably that our first contact will be with Homes TAS, and they're working on all the
yeah, and just to reiterate the obvious, this means that we can donate land without giving land away and without it being its primary purpose, but reducing the cost for these builders to build good homes for people. Director?
Yeah, I was just going to add, we have a working relationship with Homes TAS already due to them, their involvement in a number of developments across the Glenorchy municipal area, and are interested in some land that we already have, so we're constantly engaging with them and even through the planning process as well. So that probably would be our first port of call.
Okay, you finished summing up? Or?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour, raise your hand. It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Now move on to item 10. This is the 25-26 priority prospectus and the state budget submission. Thank you very much, Alderman Cockshott. And thank you, Councillor Kendall. So, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I'm fully supportive of the motion. I think it's really good timing to put these documents together, given there's likely to be a federal election next year as well. So it's good to get a prospectus together of some key priorities, particularly, obviously, we all know about the Glenorchy War Memorial Pool and Tolosa Park. The other one I wanted to point out was the Humphreys with your land. I think that'd be a really good game changer in regards to active living and really uplifting the city, and it's pretty not looking the best. So I think it's good that we do have a long-term plan for that space. But all really exciting developments and projects. It's just getting it all together and getting the key stakeholders aligned to getting funding so we can actually do these, because we can't do it by ourselves. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Alderman Riddler.
Yes, Mayor, whilst I'm supportive of the motion, I just wonder in relation on page 48, the heavy vehicle living, it concerns me that we're asking to conduct a review of the revenue amount and the distribution methodology. I wonder whether we should change the wording to say that to make sure that local government in Tassie with the LGAT, ensuring that the heavy vehicle motor tax on diesel fuel, for those who have diesel vehicles will be aware of, is appropriately distributed amongst all local government areas in Tasmania, and making sure we get our fair share. Obviously, that's the first thing. But secondly, the application of that in as far as repairs and maintenance of certain roads, particularly state government roads. We've got local, state and federal roads. So in state and federal in particular, but of course, we're an industrial area, so we have a lot of heavy rigid vehicles on our local roads. Lambton Avenue is a classic. We've got 5 crossovers between Main Road and the Brooker. They get a fair bit of heavy vehicles, including speed doubles and so on. And these vehicles, as you well got my office at Sea Road, I read their offices, those vehicles weigh 68 tonne, the really heavy ones, and they're damaging the footpath and the infrastructure, particularly Lambton Avenue. And Steve King, if he was here, his office is right next to the road. But I just think the wording could be probably changed slightly. I've got no problems with the actual motion, but I just wonder when we put the submission in, we just reword that to say about how it's collected, applied to local government municipalities in Tasmania in particular, and also how it's applied as far as repairs and maintenance to our existing road network. Is that okay, Mr. General Manager?
CEO, can we accept that, or we have to move on?
So, through me, so what the existing draft submission says at the moment is heavy vehicle levy. Glenorchy City Council supports recommendation 21 of the Future of Local Government Review. The Tasmanian Government should review the total amount of heavy vehicle motor tax revenue made available to councils and consider basing this total amount on service usage date. A review of the heavy vehicle motor tax revenue amount and distribution methodology is supported because Glenorchy City Council is a large industrial area which has very high vehicle usage that damages our road infrastructure.
That summarises it, yeah, okay. All right, we'll worry about what's on clause page 48. Second question, Mayor, is the streamlining and property indexation process. I totally agree that there needs to be a review done. Michael Philbin, as Premier, brought the indexation in because local government valuations were 5 years apart and very disproportionate. And a good example is Tasman Peninsula properties have deferred valuations because of COVID. So it's more than 5 years that properties haven't been indexed, and the next indexation is on 1 July next year. But I do agree, subject to General Manager advising, there needs to be a more equitable way of indexing not only residential properties, but commercial properties too. There are disapportionments, and I think we need to minimise the number of complaints every time a valuation comes out. It doesn't matter which local government area it is, there's always in the press people not happy that their properties are either undervalued, or overvalued. So I just wonder if the General Manager could just comment on that about any proposed indexing suggestions.
Thank you,
Through
CEO.
I might ask the CFO just to refer to that. I can certainly read out what it says currently. The Glenorchy City Council supports the Local Government Association of Tasmania efforts to work with the Valuer General to improve the indexation process for properties. Improving accuracy of the indexation process will reduce negative feedback from community in respect of land, capital and AAV valuations. It will also improve the amount of property tax levied on landowners. So I'm aware that the CFO has been in direct discussions with the Valuer General in relation to this issue, so they may be able to a little bit more?
Thank you, CEO. Yes, so we are discussing that particular issue with the Governor General. He very much understands the issue that's at hand, and he's also committed to working with local government to improve the indexation process. So we are putting a program of work in place to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, any further questions? Thank you,
Yeah,
Deputy.
thank you, Mayor. I like the document, based from the past one that we've had. The structure's better. It feels like it's a little bit more precise in its focus of the funding that we're requesting. So, for instance, the last one talked about the Tolosa Park Master Plan, whereas this is now about Stage B. We've got the pool, and obviously we've got that case in there. We talked about youth engagement, the past one, and then this one's specifically about a youth hub. So we're really focusing on the solution, which I'm really pleased to see, and obviously the Humphreys Rivulet is one we talked about. So I like those things. My question is that I guess around the time in the past, I would see this as a strategic document, and I appreciate that there's operational parts to it. It's not solely operational, so there's a strategic side to it. I'm just wondering why all the elected members weren't provided an opportunity to put input into the options. I guess that was something that we haven't workshopped. We haven't sort of provided that, if that makes sense.
Through there, the vast majority of these are priority issues identified by council in the annual plan. So they're reflecting the expressed priorities of the council as developed with council through the annual plan process. One exception to that would be here I'm talking about more so the priority projects prospectus as opposed to the state budget submission. That's probably a little bit more operational in nature, but certainly each of these projects has been identified as priorities for council under the annual plan process. The exception to that would be the Humphreys Rivulet Path, which was recently discussed in the council workshop, albeit fairly briefly. That really came up as a result of a deputation by the mayors to Canberra, I think, and some reflection of the fact that that active transport projects were being favourably considered by the federal government. And as a result of that, we kind of, I guess, there had been an earlier work done on Humphreys Rivulet some time ago. We kind of dusted that project off and thought that was worth resubmitting based on the fact that we had done considerable work in the past on it, and the fact that active transport projects seem to be flavour of the month. But apart from that, the other ones should reflect priorities from council in the annual plan.
Okay. So with our priority project regarding the multicultural hub, so that was taken off from the last one. Is there a reason? Is that because they already fund us and they give us short funding agreements effectively?
So the multicultural hub, my understanding is there was a bit of, I might need a bit of clarity around that, but my understanding is that we had an upcoming state election and we were successful in getting state funding for the multicultural hub to continue. I think that was, I'd like a bit of clarity as to whether or not that was direct funding to MCOT or whether that ended up being funding coming to us. But the kitchen was part of it, I think, but there was also the recurrent funding of MCOT. As far as I'm aware, MCOT was successful in that. I can take that on notice. I can take that one on notice.
Yeah, that's all right. It'd be good to know.
Yeah.
And obviously the Northern Transit Corridor is and still remains a critical priority project. I appreciate that you've put that in under a separate section. But it's still, in my opinion, it's an imperative thing to keep that on the radar for council.
Yeah.
They've just state government have made a commitment around that staged approach starting in our city. So that, for me, that's a big priority. Whether that's reflected in the document, I'm not sure. And I guess that was removed out of the main highlights. So yeah, that was, I guess, there was some reasoning around that would be great.
Through you, Mayor, just in relation to that, I guess I did give a presentation at an open council workshop recently on that. I've also been driving people crazy with presentations at state government level as well. And we have managed to revive the Northern Suburbs Transit Corridor Steering Committee meeting. They're having one on the 20th of December after about probably a 13-month hiatus. So we're maintaining the rage. The reality is, from what I understand, we're probably talking about a bucket of $500,000 in funding that may or may not be available to assist with land use planning along the corridor. The major driver from state growth's point of view is the work they need to do to plan the transport network in terms of preparing a business case, essentially, strategic business case for the federal government. So they'll be squirreling away doing that. Our major focus is really what can we do to leverage the land use benefits of the corridor. So we don't have a lot of skin in the game in terms of influencing the principal transport investment, because that's largely going to be something that's worked on between the state government and the federal government. And we've found from bitter experience that we don't have a big seat at the table in that discussion. But certainly our main game is to focus on what we can do to get our corridor development ready for land use purposes. Because I think that's where this city leverages a lot of the big benefits from.
Any further questions from anyone? No, so I'm going to put the motion, which is to endorse and make a 2025-26 budget submission to the state government. All those in favour? And carried unanimously. Thank you. Now we move on to, this one will be interesting. Item 11, the appointment of elected members to vacant committee positions. So what happens when we don't have Alderman Alderton here?
Alderman King.
Alderman King.
We can still vote.
We can?
Today, yeah.
Okay, good.
I will check the policy today. Thank you. Thanks for prompting me. They don't need to be present to
Well,
be elected.
can I just ask a question?
Yes.
That's a change. So did we agree to that some?
This policy is from September 2023, and it's silent on that. So, yeah, over a year ago.
Thank you. That's right.
Yeah.
It was never the same before, but I'm happy that then.
Okay, so who wants to move this one?
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'll move it.
Thank you, Alderman Cockshott, and seconded by Molly Kendall. Thank you.
No comments.
No comments? Okay. Oh, you please proceed.
Ready to roll? So we'll start with audit panel. So circle the name of the elected member you are voting for. I'll select them in a moment in the ballot box. Right. Hold them up.
Big circle.
Get my steps up.
For anyone watching online, we're currently conducting a ballot for a position for representative on the audit panel, because we had two nominees, being Alderman Shane Alderton and Alderman Peter Riddler, and there's only one position available. Our independent scrutineers going out to count.
Mayor,
Yes?
could I just ask a question in relation to the confirmation of the minutes for the October meeting, which I wasn't here, last meeting, I declared that I was not voting for those minutes. It's recorded that I voted for all those minutes of 28 October.
I've already said that there's errors.
They're being corrected.
They will be corrected.
Online.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
You're doing Lisa's job, obviously.
The reason I'm staying was I wasn't a member at the time, wasn't a councillor at the time.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think you explained.
You can
yourself.
still vote, but it has been taken off board.
Well, normally you don't if you're not party to the meeting. Protocol.
Anyway, that's it. Made a decision. It's the mover, Alderman Cockshott. Are you happy if we do these all, we move them all together?
Yep.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. So congratulations, Alderman Riddler. You are now on the audit committee.
Thank you.
And we do have a proxy position on the audit committee, so we can discuss that later with Alderman Alderton if he wishes to take
There's
it.
already a proxy on audit committee.
Right.
So there's an opportunity to either call on the floor now for another nominee, or we can deal with that at the January meeting.
Yes, and again, for the benefit of those at home, the mayor is not allowed to be on the audit committee, so I can't participate. Is there anyone else who's happy to put their hand up? It's a proxy position. So, thank you, Alderman Marks. Now,
Do we have to vote for that?
yes, because we don't have a nomination, we automatically appoint.
That's right, one nomination, so for one position means that Alderman Marks will.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, for the proxy.
You got it with it?
Shane's another proxy.
He's already a
So
proxy.
there's two proxies.
Okay, thank you. And now we've got the Chief Executive Officer's Performance Review Committee, and we have 3 aldermen contesting this position, but there is only one vacancy.
The others are only one nomination.
I appreciate
Oh, nice. Oh, can I have,
you pay
pay you later. Ah. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you, and I'll give you that one back.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. And the successful applicant for that position is Alderman King. So we now have all positions filled. Is that correct, Emma? Thank you. Yes. Okay. So you're going to update them with the names? Is there any discussion?
I've only got a question.
Alderman Sloan?
Don't we put in any more that we destroy the documents?
No, that's captured in the policy, so we have to do that every time.
Oh, it's in
Now that
policy.
it's endorsed policy, yeah.
Okay, thank
So
you very
then
much.
we'll do it as soon as practical after this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Riddler?
Yes, Mayor. Just a question, shouldn't appoint be changed to elected? That word, because we actually had an election.
I have to take advice on that one.
Just as appointed, as we just appointed.
Objection to changing the word appoint to elect.
I think it would be more, well, elected, yeah, appreciate that.
It's only elected within us, ourselves, so.
Sorry that,
Well, it's only us electing them, but we'll change it.
It's neither here nor there, I think.
sorry.
So it's neither here nor there, I think. It's like
Elected, I think, should be so.
No, it's elect.
All right, okay.
Okay, is that correct now? Any further discussion? Sorry? No?
No.
Okay, thank you. So we have recommendation one.
I was only going to say congratulations to the winning.
Well, that's very nice of you. Yes, I think we all feel the same, and thank you for taking on extra duties.
So do we actually put that motion in?
I'll put the motion now.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. So the motion is that, and there's 8 points there, including Shane Alderton, who will be one of the for the one available position on Safer City Working Group. You've got the motion online or up there above to read. All those in favour, raise your hand. Again, carried unanimously. Thank you, and congratulations to all involved. Item 12 is consideration of the annual general meeting motions, and I'm looking for someone to move this. Thank you, Councillor Kendall. Someone to second it. Thank you, Alderman Marks. Would you like to make a statement?
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. We've got some of our askers here in the audience tonight, and the report accompanies the officer advice in response to the questions. So I'll open it for debate.
Thank you. Anyone want to debate the motion? No, very self-explanatory. So I'll put that motion. All those of that opinion, just raise your hand. Thank you. Again, carried unanimously. Item 13 is the financial performance report to the 30th of November 2024. Who would like to move this one, Alderman Cockshutt? Alderman Yaxley, right. Would you like to second it?
Sure, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Sure, he's carried.
Deputy, please take it away.
It's a very much a steady report. It's considering continuing steady progress, coming up to halfway through the year. So revenue's up, expenditure's down. There's good progress on the capital grants projects, although we're slightly behind on the capital works. It's all being forecast to be completed, which is great. In order to deliver a safe, clean, and the city that we deserve and want, as around the table, but not just here, in our community. It's a constant that what we're hearing, that they want a safer and a cleaner city. And so in order to do that, we must fund the vision that we see. So I'm more than happy to see the adjustment. And thank you, Mr. Steenbergen, for bringing those questions, because they are the exact questions that I had too. So well done. And I'm glad it got clarified. So otherwise, no, open to debate.
Thank you. Any discussion? Yes, thank you, Alderman Cockshutt.
I think it's good that we're actually in a position where we can reinvest back into the community with the CBD cleansing. I know it's one thing which gets brought up quite a lot is, having a safe, vibrant, clean CBD aspect. I think it's gone down a bit lately, so hopefully this further injection of cash can help, uplift those standards a bit. I think what I would like to see moving forward is, as a council, as we get to budget bids, is what do we want the CBD to look like, obviously more uplifting, some murals. I know we've sent a couple up around the city. Can we engage with local artists, support local businesses? What would they like to see as well in regards to how we can help businesses as well? And even just some, trees, more planting and stuff, create more vibrancy. But in terms of the financials, I think, like Alderman Yaxley just said, we're in a really strong position. Nothing's changed a lot, so it's really good to see that we're making good progress.
Thank you. Any other contributions? Thank you, councillor Kendall.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a little bit of a tricky one for me because I've got a personal vested interest in this council putting aside some money to really invest in climate change, the next budget. So I'm holding on to a little bit of space in my mind and hope for that. But I absolutely appreciate, and we had a fantastic workshop on this, that we're playing catch up as a council when we've looked at other councils to benchmark, and this is really acknowledging that in the uplift in the finances being invested. So I support the motion, and yeah, thank the officers for bringing it forward.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, I'd just like to say personally that we owe a debt of gratitude to the clean team we've had to date. They have done an extraordinary job with limited resources, trying their best to keep the city clean and to be a city that we're proud of. So I think they argued their case at the workshop very effectively, and you cannot clean unless you have cleaning solutions and bodies. So I just want to say well done to the team we have, and I look forward to that team being strengthened, because we are a city and there are certain expectations that members of the community expect of the city, and nobody wants anything dirty or graffitied, and so this gives us the capacity, hopefully, to deal with this scourge of on society in our city. So I'm very, very proud and pleased to see that in there, and I'm confident that our elected members will support it. Thank you.
I know I can't ask another question, but I was going to point out something lately is, can I? Yeah. Okay. Well, it's more of a statement, really. It's not a question.
Just put a question mark at the end of it.
I just wanted to point out about the new toilet blocks at Windermere and the damages done there. So I think we hold people accountable, or we have nice things and a lot of things happening with facilities, but that's the sort of crap that council officers have to deal with on a day, pardon the pun, on a day in, day out basis. So hopefully, people get the message that, hold each other accountable. We don't want to see council property damage, and we've got the extra investment to keep it clean.
Yeah, I appreciate those comments, because that's very much the case. The officers have to clean up from the delinquents, and I'm happy to say that because we have CCTV footage in that area, we have identified the culprits, and they're being dealt with at this time. So, no further discussion. I'll put this motion. Sorry, yes, you have a question?
Comment?
Yes.
Comment?
Oh, yes, of course.
My only comment would be is that it's been a good half a year, and we just need to keep it continuing. I think we've got ourselves into a really good position over many years. We've got ourselves, I guess, I don't want to rest on our laurels and sort of get, I guess, comfortable in that. We always need to be constantly trying to improve. So otherwise, yeah, it's a great result so far. Looking forward to the next 6 months.
Yes, I fully support what you've said too. I think the officers in management and all levels responsible for anything to do with the budget have all done a very good job and are all conscious of the fine scarcity of money. So they do a lot with little. Okay, so in that case, with your permission, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We're getting a cleaning team. Item 14, notices of motions. Questions on notice, with or without notice? No? Thank you. Now we have to farewell our members of the community and thank them for their attendance. It's always good to see your faces, and always good to hear the questions you have.
And Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yes, Merry Christmas to all of you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
To anyone online, we'll say good night and wish you a Merry Christmas as well. Thank you.
I'll move.
You'll move it?
Second.
Thank you. Carried unanimously? Show of hands? Yes. Thank you. Bit presumptive of me there. Good night.